All right, so Master Mason, no drone scope coming at you from STEM Lab here. That is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Roads, Beals, Vermonts. You can get into Mass Gap, Nova Strokers, Brick and Dryers. There's Hunter's Prize. Any one of them is a good calc point to get you in there. Trebuchet across the fence. They're good forms. You fill in the numbers. Muon, Tau, Neutrino, XYZ. That location and the phase oscillation, baryonic harmonics, acoustic flutter, because I need physics that. M1, M2, M3, this timeline course, all the pieces. So you're just saying E4 bro is first day college orientation, right? After that, this little tiny XYZ general relativity cube gunning down the hadron collider in the middle, right? Is it brown? Is it blue? Got crack in it? I don't know. All the limitations on what the numbers can become for what that grid can represent for you. And there's a lot of them. Like I said, I think one of the limiting factors is the fact that everything is Schrodinger's, man. Just is it in a box? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right, meow. And then 10 seconds later, you cut me off, and I'd say that's the death in the box. That's the radioactive decay. That's what happens. That's why it's physics, and we keep moving. There's certain things. I missed some 16s in the 14 set, but do we run it like that? Is it worthy to trust the blade changeover, the palette set arrangement, turn the old way into this has to be the way, regardless if it ever was the way or not before, because fine-tuned numbers on the outside adjusted end of it. 1.5, right? A half one or two, excuse me, over AU or whatever. That's a derivative. It's not just gold. It's for me a derivative. It's just the symbol. It looks like an A, kind of, sort of, in a mathematical way. How do you quantify? That's why wave function, when I say block, is a wave function, and the little h is U in that box because that's Heisenberg or some crap like that. Across the equation, Heisenberg right there to beat you with the bar. Say things about Higgs and all these other cowboys that are going to step in. Sigma sum N1, NK 100. Okay, 100% of the time, 97% of the universe is known for this equation. That's what I'm saying. The energy is dark matter, and then you kind of go like, well, Stone-Mill, and that's like 97 is top end. It's space-time, and the combination of space-time is electron, muon, tau. And so that breakdown of the neutrino, if it acts differently in that position with charge, it's going to register a different ding. How did it hit? Instead of ting, the rabbit hit for certain energy that I wanted on the bunny trap, and that's what springs this company along, powers a light bill. Kind of on a parallel geodesic. I'm different schematic of Tesla and VCR schematic that gets the resistor, transistor, capacitor, working joules of the output of the value of the red blue video that's going to be used as a weight, a plumb bob, a few things. Sickle under the hedge of the curve, right? A couple of points on there, whether it be potentials and kinetics, and some sharp pieces of paper. Woo, boy! I tell you, they cover a lot of that harassment game, don't they? Did you physics this? Those are all physics points. If I don't know what the problem is, there's some stuff about bosses and issues and human psychology and fucking COVID and everything else running around down here. Shit, TV alone. Utilize time, red, blue. How do you shift over the difference in cool? It's a little bit more militarized, standardizing, general that defines tests, but allows freedoms by 1/2. Here's your free time. It's 8 hours. Looks a lot like this, 8 to 10, 14, whatever you're doing. It's cost ratios, the differential based on people have, personal obligation to do it, but there's reasons for a company to want you to do it further timelines with the triangulation of MSHA, OSHA, because they all combine. They're not just, all right, here's your hearing test number. Sorry, guys. But hertz for decibels in tone. Volume is your XYZ, heat, light, and sound. Any form of energy. It is a Tweety bird. I hit the same tone at a volume that gives me a difference, but it's not a fork truck. It's not train A and train B and lightning striking here and How does that change the gray alien lunch line? Because gravity. And Hawking's going to talk about why this can't be done from the ear test. So that's phase oscillation. You're looking at that with, here's the snake guy saying, all right, well, go out there, pick the experts. You're going to have that phone call on those things, figure out a test. You're not going to be there all the time to kind of define that, but if you are right based on that, now I'm going to look at some Northwood's Law, some good positive examples of what that does, and you too should have the same reference on what these things should look like, right? Especially by nowadays standards, there's money on the table, government stepping in, taxation without representation, changing all the rules, undersetting stuff. How does that happen in the mill, and what's the turnover in one half? House life is business. It's my business as an employee, stock interpretation for this company, and how much rock you're getting. When you get to a certain point as a stonemason, those numbers, and it's like you can hammer somebody. I backed out at the tail end of a Princeton order when they added more to it because, look, could have been more on that table. Got good of it. Finished off what I knew was the quote on it before more comes in, and you can walk out pretty cool. You miss a Sunday, you're trying to take a day off. Write me up. Have to mandatory a 2-week vacation for everybody when you run in 70s, really? Stuff that you have to pay attention to, and it's gonna make you eat. Remember what metal tasted like. Watch guys break pallets down, have to help pick them up out of the yard, and you thermal rock all day at the tail end of it when you're trying to load a truck, and you have to go out there 24 8-footers, trying to roll them back up on the pallet by hand, get them back in, and then re-put them on a pallet. Set the operation on the line, this nice, smooth, beautiful. Oh boy. And again. It plays like that. They come in and it says, make sure that, if anchored, it doesn't matter if I'm going to hand you the keys. So hopefully, if you're at the top end or at the bottom end of it, if the play was different on the thing, I can step out and say, I listened to the rules of how you're supposed to handle this situation. This is what they are, because it's the program saw. If ever should something happen, you getting about to fucking drop the handle, stop. Back off. Camera will come up. Take it from there. If you have to step away from the office, where you go is this office, not your car. Can't let you just walk out here all hyped up. Cop stuff happens. Physics stuff happens. Can't let you do it. That's where the number is. It might be 5 minutes. It might be till your standard operating time for the day was supposed to be over. I think that's a fair standard set in the office with the guy. Let him shadow you around for the day. Obviously, something under the standard needs to change for some reason. It's the only place it's ever going to happen, because otherwise you have to get the cops involved. Burden on the system. Misses a month, 10 months instead of 1 day. And somebody just didn't get up in there and fix that shit. And for me, right now, if there was anything on the play, I don't think that there's much, because you could do it at the fire station. You can do it a lot of where the gravity applies itself already, and camp out there with certain things and see what it does. And then you have to readjust and define that system. It's good when you have a big solid play that anybody could represent in that place, like a town vote. But voting systems like the YouTube version of that is, where's our local code? I mean, we need some of the same variants on that, just in case we are the last candle. And, we need to throw that back together. What this was should work by physics N1, sigma sum. I mean, that's the environment here of that triple point, what we define that overhead to do when we have an abundance of it, and good and bad and middle ground stuff. That means this is more about the anchor situation, telling people more. Right now, flood territories took out 2 roads. I don't care who mayor is. I want the person at least to be able to N1 half that Jaeger with them without too much of the bullshit, because they're pretty much verbatim with each other. When I say yes, this is why, this is yes. When I say this is no, this is why, this is no. And based on those functions, this is what the money does, because emergency calls on the situation act differently to that tax nut, and when those timelines get pushed back to luxuries that you have. Now, luxuries are based on the positive one application of road crew being 0, right? You need to know every year based on the system that this segment of that distance, because I really don't put in too many more roads, do you? But I think certainly that could be segmented off 1, 2, 1, 5, whatever. Any kind of breakdown of a wiggly squiggly line. uh, they got to be serviced so many times over so many years. Concrete service for this long. That's when you hit those things. That's going to determine the output on crew that you need, the rotation of those things, the workforce program and slip differentials that you need, the reeds that come over, the variegated edges, the full color games, because that's going to make a difference of the first thing you grab and why. Y is again that wiggly squiggly line where it just looks like one curve, but it has a thing over here that affects this next move because you had to stop Schrodinger's equation and just thermal out that face a little bit better. And stop and slow it down. Yeah, Schrodinger's great, but a rock nice would be better. Anyways, took a feather in today. It was nice and crisp. A nice little blackbird. Got that little blue purpley to it. I stuck it in the back. He made it. I'm a little worse than where I think. But, well, symbolically. I mean, for me, Lions Club, Freemason, I just hit that stuff on the floor. I hit that stuff now because that's basically what I'm thinking if I'm not doing it. Because there's the positive and negative one entropy to what I'm looking at, how I on and off a lot of stuff. Turn off a little bit of the PSTD, get back in the temple about that's just a moving part. If you do forget about it, it kind of doesn't matter. When we haven't punched each other in the throat, yeah, kicked each other like horses in the stable. Uh, and there's simple things that make that do that. So, catch you on the next one.